Okay. This will be the last round of a tour of the apartment. And then I can get right into another D&D video for you. So, we start at the door where we came in. We can view the kitchen as it stands now. Everything is accessible. We turn to the right as per normal. And check out the bathroom. Got a medicine cabinet. Got a floor mat for outside the shower and a floor mat for inside the shower. I can reach my serger. I just got to move that box out of the way when I do. Everything is organized and orderly. Got all my dish towels and shop rags hanging on the wall, so they're out of the way. Temporary garbage. And a stack of buckets where I can put a camera stand. The tripod's a little too tall for what I'm about to do. Microwave as it was, sink as it was, coffee maker, fridge, everything where it needs to be. I can sit on a stool now instead of standing the whole time. And I have a place to put my laptop for when I'm recording. Not ideal, but passable. Mao is happy. Into the bedroom. Everything has been hung on the walls. All of my stuff is up. And Mao wants to come on the tour too. Now she just wants to eat. Yeah, all of my pictures from film work, from friends, are up on the walls. Everything is good. Everything is off the floor and out of the way. And as we come around, everything's on the walls, everything's organized, everything's where it needs to be. The closet is accessible as necessary. I just got to move one of Mao's beds. Everything is stacked and organized where it's supposed to be, all of the pony stuff. I put up a second mirror. Useful. And that's it. Now, let's get to the D&D video. This is not an optimal situation for filming. Get myself in the center of the screen there. Okay. Back to what we were talking about before I moved house. Small races. Well, we were talking about odd ideas before, but small races have come up several times. In the 5e and 2024 books, there seems to be a distinct lack of small races, unless I'm glancing over to my laptop to be able to read the script at this point rather regularly. And there we go. There's a distinct lack of small races and species, whichever word you want to use for them, especially as playable races within the canon. I mean, we've got my favorite goblins. We've got kobolds, halflings, gnomes. They brought back some form of the kender, but I don't know. I haven't taken a look at it yet, and I never liked them in the first place. There was the Hadazi, but they didn't last very long. There's a few species with options to be small, like either small or medium, like the owl and the heron-gun, and I think the fairy, but I'm not sure on that one. We'll have to check. There's the auto-gnome, but why not just play a small warforged? There are plenty of variations on the very few small folk we have. There's, three different subgroups of, 2 or 3 different subgroups of halflings. There's 2 or 3 different subgroups of gnomes. Subspecies, if you will. And I've done similar with kobolds in my own world building. In previous videos, in fact, so you can go check those out. everything leans towards medium creatures. They're between 4 and 8 feet tall. Small, being 2 to 4 feet tall, is a little limited. It wasn't always this way. There used to be a few more playable small folk, in even a few tiny, being under 2 feet tall, in previous editions. So why don't we try to bring a couple of those up to the 5e standard. From AD&D 2nd edition, as soon as I can find a spot here, from AD&D 2nd edition, we have the Mold Man, or Veggie Pygmy. Neither of those names are good, shall we say. Neither are accurate either. Veggie Pygmy has its own problems, but Mold Man isn't accurate because they're not a mold. Their description is a little lackluster and switches between calling them plant-based and fungus-based, which is a little confusing. Both seem to apply, which, well, let's use that to our advantage. They can be an intelligent, communicative, and mobile form of lichen. Not lichen as in lycanthropy, L-Y-C-A-N, but lichen as in the pale mossy stuff you see growing on rocks and rock outcroppings all over the world. L-I-C-H-E-N. It's well, genetically, it's a cross between a mold and an algae. So, let's go with that. They are lichen people. Don't have a name for them yet, but we can figure something out, I'm sure. You can figure something out. Put it in the comments if you have an idea. But, yeah, they were 2nd edition. They're a lichen that takes on a roughly humanoid shape. The original article where they were introduced was... The article was called Primitive PCs in Dragon number 265. It describes them as exactly that. They're primitive. They're on the bottom of the tech ladder. But that doesn't mean much where magic is concerned. It just means their society is limited to Stone Age tools, which makes sense, being they are most likely averse to the high temperatures needed to smelt ore into metal. Stone Age is fine, though. I mean, they'd still have all the amenities of life, just no metal. I mean, honestly, up until the Industrial Revolution and electricity, the only thing you gained with metal tools was a little more durability and a little less effort in creation. Off topic, if you think about it, let's see, we got terrazzo concrete, we got plaster, we got rope, we got weaved fabrics, medicines, herbal medicines, ceramics, glue, drills, knives, axes, food preservation, basket weaving, animal traps, domestication, farming, oil lamps, beer and wine, writing systems, mathematics, predicting the weather, navigation. That's all Stone Age. All of that existed before native copper was hammered into tools, before the Chalcolithic. So, yeah, all of that had already existed before we got metal. And nothing really changed until the steam engine and electricity. So, yeah. Stone Age is fine. Back on topic, I'm going to take a look at the stat block I've converted, and then I'll show it to you. So, let's read this out. Stat block and a bit of a description. We got their ability score adjustments. And being that I am a fair and honest DM and creator, I like giving negative ability adjustments as well as positive ones to balance things out. Modern D&D doesn't seem to like that, but fuck them, I'm doing it this way. So they get a -1 to strength, a -1 to intelligence, and a +2 to wisdom. As far as their height, they're small creatures. So you get 24 inches plus you roll your hit dice. They grow. They're a plant and fungus-based creature. They grow physically. So with each level, with each hit dice you gain, you grow. Weight, same thing. They start with 40 pounds. And with each hit dice, you roll that hit dice once and add that to your weight in pounds. I gave them a speed of 25. They're not the fastest thing in the world. As a racial bonus, I gave them a +4 to their normal AC. Whatever their AC is determined to be by Constitution and Dex, they get a +4. The languages they speak are their own language and one additional language to start. If you want to learn more languages later down the line, you can. Now, a little of this has changed, but is very close to the original article. A unique ability of the Moldmen is their continued growth. If they lose a hit dice to magical effects, they will physically get smaller and lighter. Generally, the size of armor that they can wear changes every 2 to 3 levels, making it rather costly for them to replace. Fortunately, because they have an excellent natural armor, many of them don't wear anything. They don't wear any armor. Moldmen suffer only 1 point of damage, plus any magical bonuses, from any piercing weapon. That's big. Starting at 3rd level, they are immune to all electrical attacks. I do not know why this is, but that was in the original article and the original description, so I'm keeping it. They are immune to charm spells, except those that specifically target plants or fungus. They always receive a saving throw versus enchantment, even if one is not normally allowed. Since they are plant and fungus creatures, most carnivores, monsters included, won't hunt them. Although they might attack a Moldman for other reasons. They gain an automatic +1 bonus to any checks involving plants or fungus. Any spell effects that specifically target plants or fungus, you don't get a saving throw. Some of these spells can kill them outright. So they're terrified of them. And in their native terrain, they gain advantage to any hide checks. So, I'll take a break now and I'll show you the stat block as I came up with it. And then I'll come back and show you the other creature I found to update. Alright, wasn't that exciting? So yeah, we got Moldmen until we come up with a better name for them. Next, Originating as a playable race in AD&D 2nd edition, from my time when I started playing the game in the late 80s, the Complete Book of Humanoids in 1993. And they did previously exist in Monsters Compendium in 1991 as a monster. We have saurials, which are dinosaur resembling humanoids. They're comprised of 4 species. 3 of them are large or medium, but the flyers, as they are called, are small. So we're going to focus on them. They were apparently transported to Faerun in the Forgotten Realms by an evil god, Moander, and abandoned in a place called the Hidden Vale. Like the Moldman, they are strictly in the Stone Age. This more for flavor than anything else, in the case of them being dinosaurs. And they look like humanoid dinosaurs. The flyer resembles a humanoid pterosaur. Very similar to a supposedly completely unrelated pterofolk, which are 10 feet tall. Flyers are small. They're described as nervous and noisy, irritable, and often irritating to others. They're likely to flee from a fight if they're threatened. They love gossip and spending time with people who will listen to them. As far as their ability score adjustments, I gave them a +2 to Dex, a -1 to Strength, and a -1 to Con for their hollow bones. They are small. They have a walking speed of 25 and a flight speed of 40. They get +6 to natural AC for a thick hide, strong skin. Their languages are interesting. Saurial they have their own language obviously, but they can learn to understand other languages but can't physically speak them. For traits, I gave them 60-foot dark vision, which is pretty standard for almost everybody anymore. If necessary, they can use their ancient fighting methods, employing a claw bite being 1d4, 1d4, and 1d4 if they hit. Flying speed of 40. They receive a +2 saving throw, a bonus, against sound-based attacks, like a Harpy's Charm or the Shout spell. Gas or scent-based attacks, such as Poison Gas or Stinking Cloud, have a greater effect on saurials, so they get a -2 penalty to saving throws against anything scent-based. This is where it's interesting, and I did change something here. If exposed to prolonged cold, which I write as more than 2 hours, saurials fall into a torpor, which they call cold sleep. They can resist this for a number of turns equal to their level, and these times can be doubled if they wear warm insulated clothing. Warmth revives them in 1 to 2 hours. See, in the original version, cold sleep could kill a saurial after a few hours. I think it's more fun, more interesting, and an easier way to bring them into a game world if it's a much longer term hibernation, not like months or years, but along the lines of decades, centuries, or millennia. As long as nothing kills them in their sleep, they can just wake up like a Jurassic Rip Van Winkle. Explaining the languages, saurials cannot speak any human or humanoid language. Their jaws, tongues, and vocal cords simply can't form the shapes to make the necessary sounds. Their own language is at such a higher pitch that most humanoid races can only hear about half of it. So Sorials who are PC adventurers usually have some magic item that allows them to communicate with non-Sorials, or telepathic ability, or a form of sign language. Any of these will work. On top of that, the flyers in particular have something called a flight lance. These are described as a 10-foot long shaft of tough wood, but very thin and very flexible, with a sharp stone head and fletchings. It's used by flying creatures as a shock or impact weapon by going into a sharp dive, swooping, and releasing it as it strikes. They're not a heavy weapon, but they do 1d6 piercing damage. They're very light, very fast. Yeah, so you can impale a target with it. And they're light, so much as the Roman pilum, you could carry 4 or 5 of them as a PC and do repeated attacks hitting one every time, or trying to hit with one every time. Makes it a little more useful. It's like a very long arrow. So here's the stat block, and the stats on the lance as well. Alright, I'd say that's a good return to form for this. Although, yeah, this is not ideal for filming. Putting my phone in a camera stand on a stack of buckets and constantly glancing over instead of having the laptop right below me. This isn't ideal. But it's what we got. And yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. So now we've got 2 potential options. Revived options for playable small creatures in 5e and in 2024 D&D. Both are from 2nd edition. Next time I'll give you a 3rd option, but it's from 3.5, and I'm still working on either converting the stat block myself or finding one that's already converted. So, talk to you next time.